Welcome back to the Living Proof Recovery Podcast with your host. I'm Evan. This is Brian.
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth. Today we're coming at you with maybe a little Mythbusters episode here. So Brian's got some myths of recovery that we're just going to kind of go through tonight. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it and let Brian let us know where we're at.
All right, so common myths in recovery. We're going to talk about these, why they're myths, what's where they come from.
More like our opinions,
Our
I guess.
opinions,
and our
yeah.
experience with them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number one. We're just going to jump right into it. Number one, time alone heals everything. So if you got sobriety time, you're good. You know, the more time, the better, right? All right, what's your experience with that?
Negative. Time, obviously, things typically get better with time. All right.
Mhm.
But
Some things.
yeah. Right. Like we remove the substance, the booze, whatever it is. Life naturally does improve, right? Without the substance.
At least the outside world does.
Right. But the internal stuff,
Mhm.
being set free of all those the resentments and the fears and all the harms that we've done, if I don't do something about that stuff's not going to go away. I'm just now still living in that same state of mind. I'm just not using over it. um so from certain aspects in life, I think boyfriend girlfriend split up. Time
Yeah,
does
away, for
time
sure.
time does work in that scenario, but when it comes to recovery, to really be recovered in sobriety, time helps, but is not, from my experience, gonna give me any type of relief and relieve me from the bondage of self.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, recovery requires action and growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I used to be guilty of this where I would um, use a benchmark of so many days sober. I'll be okay if I can hit 90 days or if I can get 6 months under my belt, right? Everything will be worked out. Or if I hit a year or if I hit 5 years or whatever it is, right? But if we don't do certain things along that way,
Mm-hmm.
take some kind of action, then nothing's really going to change on the inside, right? But the same thing is true for like what you just said. Like, say you get out of a relationship, time does heal, but you have to take certain actions and stuff because if you still stay in that same mind state of poor pitiful me, she's with somebody else, or just sad all the time, then it's not going to get better over time. If you're still living in it, if you're not willing to grow, pursue new things, new people, new relationships,
Still
or
take some
work
action.
on yourself, take some action, right? Like you still have to do those things or else you just stay stuck.
Yeah.
Right. So, a lot of times where we hear about this in recovery a lot is people equate years of sobriety to mean that you are further along than other people. And that can be true, right? There's plenty of examples where that's true, right? But because those people that have time have done certain things, have taken action, they've had growth, but just because someone has more time doesn't mean they're further along on the path.
Right.
Right. You can have someone with 6 months who's further along than someone with 6 years, so we don't want to make decisions based on how much time somebody has. Just that solely, right? Like if you're looking for a sponsor, it's probably not a good thing to just go, oh, I don't want that guy to sponsor me because he only has 2 years. I want that guy because he has 5.
And I mean, even from that aspect of it too, a lot of the times, I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the time, like that's the better person to have sponsor you, because
Yeah.
they're still like on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
They're, versus somebody that might have 20 years. Like, yeah, they have all the knowledge and the
Hmm.
experience and they're involved, but their passion isn't the same a lot of the times. Not
For
not
sure.
for everybody,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people who've been sober for a long time, and their life has changed over that time.
Hmm.
Over that 15, 20 years, whatever it is, the drive and the passion behind it is not there like somebody with a year or two sober.
Right. If one of my kids was looking for a sponsor and they came to me and said, "Hey, which one of these guys should I pick?" I would say, "Okay, well, maybe this guy over here does have 10 years, but maybe he hasn't even opened his big book in 4,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe he's just kind of coasting. But you got this other guy over here with 1 year who's on, like you said, he's on fire, who's doing all the things, right? And he's trying to excite something in the fellowship. Like that's who I want my kid to go with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point. Myth number 2: if you're sober, you're automatically in recovery.
We've kind of touched on this here and there throughout the year. Um, my definition of sobriety is to be right in the middle of the program,
Mm-hmm.
right? To be actively working the program in our daily lives, right? You can be like being sober, like I
Depends on what your definition of sober
depend
is.
yeah, it depends on your definition of sober. Like I know people who haven't used in years and they're
Let's
not.
let's change it up. If you're abstinent or if you haven't drank or used, you're that's the same as being in recovery. You're automatically in recovery.
I would say, yes, recovery looks different for everybody, and I've
Right.
tried to become more open minded too. Like my way's not the only way. Like I know someone who has been sober for, I don't know, it's double digit years, but they're not an active member of AA, but yet they are an active member in their community, and they coach little league, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a thriving business, that locally owned business. They're in the community, they're staying sober and abstinent from all substances. Like their recovery looks different than mine, but I don't think I'm the one to say, well, they're not in recovery. But it's about still being there, and he's doing things in the community and getting outside of himself to give back. Like that's what this thing's about.
So I think the way that I read this is that the difference between being dry and being in recovery.
Yeah, that's the
Right. So
difference.
right. So I think just if you just remove the substance.
And then I'm staying in my house all the time,
Yeah. Right.
and I'm not doing
Right.
anything at
Yeah,
all.
so that's in reality, that's not recovery,
Right.
right? That's not recovery.
That's
You're not doing anything to change. You're not doing anything to help. You're not doing anything to give back. You're not doing anything to improve. You're
that's
not,
what I was getting at.
right? That's not recovery. But you don't have to be a member of the same fellowship that we are to be in recovery,
Right.
right? So I think that's where we draw the line, for at least for me. That's where I would draw the line from, is because, and then we see this a lot is, well, I haven't drank in 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and this sucks.
Yeah.
That's not recovery.
Yeah.
Right. That actually gives recovery a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, because that's not recovery. Yeah. Like what you're experiencing does suck.
Yeah.
Because you're not in recovery. Like maybe try this out, and then compare.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything else on that one?
No.
I like this one. Number 3, relapse happens out of nowhere.
Every time, bro.
Every time, bro. I was just walking down the street and
got
I fell down and landed on a crack pipe.
I know this one from personal experience on a couple different occasions after having some time. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. The relapse for me always started way before I ever got the substance.
It seems like it does, though.
Right. It seems like it does, but when you stop and look back at it, like, no, I was spiritually sick way before I got to the dope man or
Mm-hmm.
the liquor store. Um, and, it just so happens like my last relapse, when I relapsed, I obviously quit doing all the things. I quit talking to my sponsor and sponsees and quit attending meetings, quit doing,
Mm-hmm.
only thing I did was work and went home. That was it. And I was just miserable walking around, irritable, restless, and discontent. And the stars aligned, and I ran into someone
Seems to
at
always
the
work that
gas
way.
station who asked me if I knew anybody that needed anything. And I told him, no, I've been sober for 3 years.
Then wheels started turning.
And we went our separate ways. And literally,
20
maybe,
minutes?
no, maybe I made it an hour or two.
Right.
But the obsession was already there as soon as I got in my car and was driving away. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, I bet it's good. I bet
Yeah.
it's good. And within an hour or two, I didn't have the phone number, but I had social media, so I was able to get in touch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't happen out of nowhere. It happens well before the
Yeah.
physical, the mental and the emotional and the spiritual relapse happens way before the physical does, but we don't typically notice it. Other people around
Oh yeah.
notice it. They're like, this motherfucker's sick. Like he is walking on thin ice, like he just
Yeah.
ready to just highly combustible, right?
Mhm.
Walking around, everybody pisses me off, scared to death of everything. Everybody's out to get me. I'm a victim. Poor pitiful me. Life sucks. And then before you know it, man, drink sounds pretty damn good, And next thing you know, I'm at the liquor store,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how'd I get here? And I'll blame it on something, oh, my wife. I mean, if you live with my wife, you drink too, or
Mhm.
the way she talked to me, like they ain't treating me right at work,
Yeah.
all these different things, like sobriety sucks, why am I doing this? And we come up with a million different excuses
Mhm.
of why we got triggered, you know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't get triggered. Like, what you did was you woke up today and you were untreated.
Mhm.
So you're looking for a reason to fucking
Yeah.
get high. And you did.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens. Like, last episode, I talked about how I blame relapsing on watching Blow
Yeah.
and watching intervention, watching people get high and shit,
Mhm.
Well, if I was in a good place, like I could watch that,
Yeah.
but I wasn't.
Right.
And that's why I went back out, right? Like I can watch that stuff now and not go back out, right? And not even think about going back out because it's not the TV show that makes me drink.
Yeah.
It's me being spiritually sick,
Mhm.
unfit, that makes me drink. You have to hit rock bottom to recover.
What is rock bottom? Everyone's is different.
Yeah.
My bottoms are different than your bottoms,
Mm-hmm.
or John's bottoms, or Billy.
Power bottoms.
Yeah, power bottoms. So, you don't have to.
No.
No, you don't have to. Like,
A lot of us do
when,
though, but we
like,
don't have to.
right, we don't have to. But like, when is enough for you? You know, not everybody has to lose everything and end up homeless and have their family shun them. Like, not everybody's is going to be the same. So, um, I don't think that's true. It's just different for everybody. Like, when have you had enough of the damage and the wreckage and the pain and everything that comes along with that lifestyle?
Yeah.
And it's just different.
Yeah, I think a good definition of rock bottom is just whatever is happening in your life, if it's enough to make you want to do something different, that's your bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's emotional, physical, financial,
Mhm.
whatever it is, whatever pushes you to a point of wanting to change.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to, because I mean, let's be honest, the real rock bottom's death.
Yeah.
right? Because we can always keep digging. You can always pick that shovel back up and dig the hole a little bit more. You know, like if that were the case, if we had to hit rock bottom, neither one of us would be sober,
Hmm.
right? If we had to hit the ultimate rock bottom, you know, or if they all look the same, right? There's high bottom drunks, there's low bottom drunks, there, I guess you would call them intermediate bottom drunks. I
Yeah.
don't know what you would call them, but I mean, most of us fall in there somewhere. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't matter where it is. It's just, you just got to get to a point, and it usually takes a fair amount of pain
Yeah.
or discomfort.
I've had so many different bottoms,
Yeah, me too. Some
physically.
have been worse than others, and the
Yeah.
worst ones didn't get me here.
Exact.
Well, yeah, if you
That's
know what
what.
I mean.
Well, my worst bottom that I ever hit got me in the doors of AA
Right,
many years ago,
right.
and that was from a physical, like I had lost everything. I had nothing,
Hmm.
and that got me in the doors of AA. But ultimately, I ended up going out and doing some more research and hit another bottom that was different, more emotional and mental bottom. Didn't lose everything, but did at the same time. I lost
Right.
everything inside of me.
Yeah.
It's
Just different type of bottom.
yeah. So it's just
Hmm.
different for everybody.
All right. Let's see. Why do you think people believe that? Why do you think that like you have to lose everything? You think it's just like a stigma, like something that's been repeated for so long?
I think a lot of people just, I mean, we all do it. We're just judgmental by nature
Hmm.
as addicts and alcoholics. So I think a lot of us come around and it's like, well, then we hear
That
stories.
wasn't enough for me.
We hear
So,
stories and we're like, wait a minute, you did that? I never did that.
right.
I never slept under that bridge down there or picked out of trash cans or I
Stole from
never
my
did that.
kids,
Like
or
I'm not as bad as you. I
never
think
been
it's
to the
just
penitentiary, or whatever.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's just
Comparison.
comparison,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
And I think we do it on both ways, right? I think, say I had been homeless, you know, I might look at someone else and go, "You haven't lost it all yet. Maybe
right.
you're not ready,
Yeah.
like because you haven't lost as much as I did."
Hmm.
Right? Like we like to compare our pain. It's like a
Right.
badge of honor.
Right.
Like I was more hard headed than you,
Yeah.
so I went through more shit than you did.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm more of an alcoholic than you are. It's like you're winning gold in a sport that no one's competing in.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't,
Yeah.
that's not something you want. You don't want to be like, I had it worse than you, but we do that. Like a lot of people do that. It's like, oh, you did this. Oh, let me tell you what I did. You know,
Yeah.
I want to make myself out to be worse than you.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, why? You know, you want to be worse? Like that's, I don't know. I've never understood that. Um, Recovery gets easier every single day. I think that's kind of a loaded myth. Like,
Well, again,
you
like
know what I
it
mean? Like the wording of it.
recovery gets easier every single day. I mean,
Life doesn't though.
right, but as long as we're doing what we're supposed to do in recovery and whatever that looks like whatever you're doing for your sobriety, for your recovery,
Mhm.
um, I mean, as long as we're doing the right things, then yes, it does. Life might not always get easier every day. Life's always going to show up,
Yeah.
but the way we react to it and how we handle it and our perspective changes, and we're
Right.
able to handle certain situations um, without going back to the drink or like today for me. Um, I deal with a lot of shit on a daily basis, especially at work, right?
Hmm.
But how do I respond to it? How do I react? How do, whatever the situation is, like my mindset is so much different than it's ever been in my life nowadays to where, you know, the desire, the thought, like that never crosses my mind to
Right.
where this shit sucks. I wish I had a drink right now, or whatever it is, like that doesn't cross my mind.
Yeah, I think that this one, I don't fully agree that that's a myth that recovery gets easier every single
Right.
day, right? Like, I think that life, I mean, some days are just harder than others. That's whether we're in recovery or we're not, right?
Yeah.
But I think if we're equipped without a handle on, like you said, then staying sober does get easier,
Yeah.
right? So, not necessarily recovery, but staying sober. Like, I mean, I'm kind of mincing words here and I'm kind of splitting hairs, but I don't necessarily agree with that that's a myth, right? Like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that every day is just easy, right? Because that's just not life.
Hmm.
That's not that's not the way the world works. You know, life
Hmm.
shows up, people die, we lose jobs,
Yeah.
you know, we have conflict with other people, you know, financial, the economy. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
there's just so many things that come up in our daily life that make life hard. And just because we're sober doesn't mean we don't have to deal with those things,
Yeah.
but doesn't mean that recovery itself gets harder.
Right.
You know, if we're, like you said, if we're doing the things we need to do, then we're equipped with tools that know how to handle
Hmm.
these things, right? They're not catastrophic when they happen. It's not, doesn't throw me off course
Right.
like it used to. I really like this one. We'll talk about this one, I think, in depth a little bit. Meetings are all you need. Hey, meeting makers make it, bro.
Yeah.
They make it to meetings.
Yeah.
That's where they make it to.
From my experience, it's I make that meeting and then I also make it to the liquor store before they close.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
if that's all I'm doing,
Yeah.
where's the true healing? Where's the true magic happening?
Yeah.
Um, and the magic happens in the middle of the program and in the middle of the action.
Hmm.
So we've talked about this one. I don't think I need to beat it too much, but that's just, how do I, if I just go to a meeting a couple times a week and I just listen to people dump shit or
Yeah.
whatever it is, where's the healing taking place?
Yeah. So, public service announcement. Can we please stop telling people this? That you just need to go to more meetings?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm going to 6 meetings a week. Ah, you need to go to 7. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You need to do some damn work. You need to take some action. You need to get a sponsor. You need to work some steps. You need to go help somebody. You need to be of service. You need to go do those things. You need to start
Hmm.
praying more. You need to do all these things and go to your meetings.
Yeah.
But just relying on meetings, like,
There's a reason we have the triangle
mm-hmm,
of unity, recovery, and service.
yeah. So many people, it's so heavy on the unity side.
Right.
People just
Because
want to flock to that because it's fucking
it's
easy.
the easy part.
Yeah.
Right. We can go hang out with people for an hour, a couple
Yeah.
days a week.
I can
That's
go I can go live in self-pity for an hour
right.
and piss and moan
Yeah.
and cry about my day.
Be surrounded by other alcoholics and addicts. That's the easy part. That's
There's at my home group, there's someone who pops in there once, I don't know, once or twice a month, and it's like a broken record. It's the same thing every time this person comes in there. And it's just like, well, no wonder you don't feel better at all. Like, because this is what you do. You just come in here and complain. And it's like, I don't want to hear it. Like, you're taking up my hour
right.
of recovery time to listen about your bullshit. Like, but as soon as the meeting's over, you're gone. You're not talking to anybody about this stuff. You're not here before the meeting starts because you're late every time you come. And you just sit down, I got to share and dump my shit, and no wonder that's your solution to everything is a problem shared is a problem halved, and don't get me wrong, we need to talk about our problems. And that statement is true, but it's not going to fix your problem. You do need to talk about your problems. You don't need to take up everyone else's time, though, in the meeting talking about it.
Yeah.
Come see somebody before the meeting starts where you can actually have a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
Get with someone, maybe go grab a cup of coffee after the meeting to where you
Yeah.
can talk about that relationship or that whatever and actually get some feedback and maybe some actions to take and we can talk about it. Or maybe this one's really far out there. Like call your sponsor
Crazy.
and talk to them about it, the person who signed up to listen to that bullshit,
Yeah.
right? Instead of taking up 20 minutes of the meeting talking about your shit,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's just selfishness is what it is. It's like, I want to talk about what I want to talk about so that I can feel better and then I can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ridiculous to me. Like, but people believe that that's what we're supposed to do, right? Because that's what we're taught, by people who don't know better. And these people aren't bad people, like people are only doing what they think they're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
so, but I don't know. That stuff really annoys me.
Yeah.
You can't tell. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Um, Number 7, once trust is broken, it can never be rebuilt. I want to put a little thing on the side of this too, little caveat, another one that people don't change. People can't change. They're kind of the same thing
Mm-hmm.
in a way, but that's something I've heard a lot that people don't change. What do you think? Once trust
One,
is broken, it can never be rebuilt.
I mean, I think that's a false statement. You know,
I mean, if it was true, we'd be screwed.
right. But again, that comes back to action, right? Action on my part to
Mm-hmm.
show change behavior and, you know, working on myself. And that's why this part in recovery comes so late in the steps,
Mm-hmm.
right? Mending these relationships with other people. There's a reason we don't do that right away. That's
Yeah.
because we have to heal ourselves internally before we're able to understand that process and mend relationships with other people. But typically, not every case, but most of the time, by the time we get to that ninth step where we're making direct amends, people see the change in us
Mm-hmm.
and the work that we're putting in, and they realize like, okay, there is something different going on here now. So you can always rebuild relationships and make these amends. Not everybody will accept them, but most of the time, from my experience, they can be mended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gotten arguments with people in my family. If people have said, well, a leopard can't change its spots or a
Mm-hmm.
zebra can't change its stripes. Like people don't change.
Mm-hmm.
They are who they are. I'm like, that's not true.
Right.
Like, but I'm like, okay, was the person we're talking about, were they always this way? Well, no, they used to be this great person and all of a sudden now they're doing all this crazy. So they change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they changed. Like, so you can admit that they changed just negatively. So people think that people can change negatively, but a lot of times they don't want to think the opposite is true, that they can change in a positive way, right? And I've witnessed myself hundreds of people change,
Mm-hmm.
like just totally different people,
Yeah.
through this process of, once again, of action, of doing something different. We can actually change.
Yeah.
We're not always, now, I mean, some people don't change because they refuse to do things differently. That's true also, but we can change
Yeah.
and trust can be rebuilt if there's forgiveness and if there's, like you said, um, change behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the best apology
Yeah.
is change behavior. Stop. Okay, you're sorry. Well, stop fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Right.
And stop talking about it. Go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Show them. I mean, I've had to rebuild trust in my marriage, with my kids, with my parents. Just with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, because I fucking scarred them.
And I mean, because it's crazy when we can just take a little accountability for what we
Yeah.
did, how that
Something that's all
affects
people
other
want.
people.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you know you did that?
Yeah.
You
You're
understand
admitting
what
this?
you did?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It takes some accountability,
So
you
what
know.
about something that just popped in my head while I was at work today? I walked back into the shop and one of the guys I was looking for him to go tell him something, and where I found him was standing staring at a calendar, and he was just reading the calendar to himself. And when I walked up, he just kept saying, "I don't get it."
I don't get all these numbers.
Well, no, it had a quote on it, right?
Right.
And I don't remember verbatim what it said, but what it said was, "You will have everything you need if you help." It was basically along the lines of, "You will have everything that you need as long as you help others get what they need."
Yes.
And he was just mind blown, and he was like, "It doesn't make sense.
Makes perfect
It
sense.
doesn't make sense." So I'm just asking him about it. I'm like, "Well, what do you?" I was like, "To me, it makes sense."
It's a spiritual paradox.
Exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
"To me, it makes sense." And he just kept giving examples about things he's done for all these people, and he don't get nothing in return, and he don't have nothing. And I'm like, and he just kept saying, "It doesn't make sense. I don't get it." And he read it probably 5 times in a row.
Right.
He was like, "I don't get it. I don't get it." But I was like, well, if you look at it from my perspective, from a spiritual standpoint, it
Mm-hmm.
makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he just couldn't understand it.
Right.
You know?
Because a lot of times when we're reading something like that and we're not looking at it through a spiritual lens,
Mhm.
we're looking at it through I guess you would call like a worldly external lens, then we attach our intentions to it, right? So it's like, what are really my intentions when I'm doing all these things for
Mhm.
these people,
Yeah.
right? I'm doing them really because for myself, because I want people to like me, because I want to get some more money, because I want to look a certain way, or whatever. I want them to want to be with me, or whatever it is, right? Like the reason I'm doing all these things is not necessarily from a perspective of charity or because it's the right thing to do because I'm just trying to be nice. It's because I want something in return. So
Mhm.
therefore, I'm not getting the things in return because my motives are fucked up.
Right.
Right.
That's
So, but it makes perfect sense to me.
that's what I was trying to explain to him, and he couldn't wrap his head around it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was like, it's all about the spiritual side of it.
Yeah.
If you look at it the way I look at that quote, it would make sense to you.
There's a line in the big book that says that if we stay close to God and perform his work well, then we will get everything that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, so if I make myself of service to you or to other people, then I will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
But that quote said, I will get what I need. It didn't say I will get what I want.
Right.
So that's probably where the where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
This person's thinking, well, I'm not getting everything I want.
Yeah.
But you probably are getting everything that you need.
Yeah.
But you don't, but your idea of it, your perception of it is warped.
Yes.
Right? That's whenever we get off, I'm gonna ask you who it was. I have a feeling I have it narrowed down to 2 people. All right, where do I leave off at? 7. Recovery is about willpower.
Man,
Just
if
gotta-
I had the power,
just gotta
yeah, if only I had the power, right?
just grit and grind, bro. Grit and grind.
That is, I mean, I know where my will takes me, so if that was only the case, when I run on self-will, I'm a fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
Everything in my life is
Your willpower got you there.
Exactly. My willpower put
Yes.
needles in my
Off the
arms
tracks, bro.
and
Off the
yeah,
tracks. The train is left the
I
station.
don't even think I have to say a whole lot on that one because I just know where my will takes me, So and that's what I've been missing my whole life is the spiritual connection and with God. And I just know where I've experienced it. I know where when I'm running on self will, I could sit here and ramble on about where my will has taken me
Yeah,
throughout my
if we
38
had
years.
if we had the answers and the willpower, we would have done it
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
And I have an example of this made me think back. This was several years ago. It was probably 7 years ago, maybe 8 years. I'd went to ILP. We've talked about that experience on here. I got out and I went over to a friend's house, coworker's house, and we're shooting pool. And I'm kind of talking to him about my journey, right? About how I'm not going to smoke weed, how I'm not going to drink, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not, I'm abstinent, right? I'm not doing any of this stuff. I can't do it anymore. And he was ignorant to the fact of like what alcoholism and drug addiction is, right? And he said to me, he looked at me right in the eye and he said, "Man, you're going to do just fine at this." He said, "You've got enough will." He said, "You've got really strong willpower." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do." Like, you damn right. Like, rack them up, bro. Like, let's finish this game. You're right. Like, and I left there thinking, yeah, of course if he notices it, of course I have it, And slowly but surely I relied on that. And I just relied on, I'm just keeping myself sober today. And it didn't last very long, man. It never does. It never does. It never did. It's never been enough. Like, if I understand the first step in recovery, which is that I am powerless, that means that my willpower is not, I can't keep myself sober. I can't keep myself sober today. I might be able to keep myself sober for a little while,
yeah,
but eventually I'm going to get sick again, right? And then I'm going to lose that power choice and I'm going to drink, right? Because I'm powerless over alcohol. The first step still applies today, right? It doesn't, I've been sober 5 years, so first step one doesn't apply to me anymore. That's not the case, right? It still applies. Like, I can't stay sober on my own willpower long term.
yeah.
I can string some a little bit of time together, but I've never been able to do it long term, and but I think that's a common misconception because we think that this is a behavioral problem.
Yeah, but that's what, like you said, and if we understand step one, and I am powerless,
What is willpower?
but then,
It's power.
right, but then through working the steps, like, yes, I do get some power back, but
All kinds of power.
that power comes from him, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
am still
do,
powerless over alcohol.
right,
Yeah. But that's why I need God's help.
right.
That's the whole point,
Mm-hmm.
of the rest of the steps
Yeah.
of why we do them. So we can get connected to that power. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I'm running on self-will, that means I'm disconnected, right? Um, you should avoid talking about cravings.
Well, if we're going to talk about cravings, that
Just not in the
means,
meetings. You should talk about it any other time, just not in the meetings.
well, if we're going to talk about cravings, it's too late because if I'm talking about a craving, I've already put the substance in my body.
Yeah, so
I cannot
explain that.
I cannot have a craving unless I put it in me.
A physical craving.
I can have the thought, which turns into a mental obsession,
Right.
which will then turn into a craving because once I've hit the mental obsession, I'm off and running.
So a lot of people think they're the same thing, like the obsession and the craving
Right.
are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. You got anything else on that? I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No.
I was going to say, the same thing, is I used to always think of it that way.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
I'm craving a donut,
Right.
I'm craving like,
Yeah.
but an obsession is a thought that
Overrides
all thoughts, right? But the physical craving, like you said, is once I put it in my body, I've lost control.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea if I'm going to have 10 or 2.
Yeah.
right? I have no idea where it's going to go today.
And
I'm
and
powerless over it.
usually it's 27.
Yeah, yeah. It might be 27. Some days it might be 3.
Right.
You know, I'm powerless over how that reaction takes place in my body,
Yeah.
right? So, sorry, my phone timed out. Recovery means you'll always be happy. Yay!
Yay. No.
This kind of ties into the recovery gets easier every single day.
Right. You know, it's just like we were saying earlier. It's life's still going to show up, you know, and I remember years ago, like my family years ago, you know, there was times where like, yeah, I was sober. And that's one of the things they'd be like, well, you're sober, like you like, why are you in a bad mood today? And I'm like, well, it's because like just because I'm sober doesn't mean I'm always going to be happy and
Yeah,
smile.
why
Like
not?
we're still allowed to have fucking bad days.
Yeah.
Just because we're sober doesn't
And that
mean
doesn't mean I need a meeting.
right. Like sometimes it's okay to if I'm having a bad day, I'm okay if I just feel it and understand it for what it is and accept it. And this is what it is for right now.
Yeah.
But it's not permanent. It's not going to last.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll always be happy. If you're coming into recovery thinking you're always going to be happy, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
that's just not reality. That's just not life. You know, it doesn't work that way. You know, I wish it did. It'd be great. I think there'd be a lot more sober people out there if just everything just got better because you're in recovery.
Yeah.
You know, actually, sometimes it can be harder just because we're aware of things. You know, like, you know, they say the best thing is about recovery is you get your feelings back. You know, and the second part of that bad news is that you get your feelings back.
Right.
You know, you get flooded with all these emotions and you just don't know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
Especially early on, or even later if you don't do the work.
Yeah, if you don't treat it.
You know, you don't know how to deal with it when it pops up. You know, it's, oh, this is just life's just so hard. You know, everything's happening bad for me, and you know, it's just all that type of shit. And this kind of goes. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say, like, even today at 4.5 years, like, I still have bad days, and there's been times where it's like my wife's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Dude,
Right.
I'm just having it's just one of those
I'm
days.
just in a
Like,
funk today. Like it's
just let me be and let me deal with it. Let
Yeah.
me get through this. Like, I'm gonna be okay.
yeah,
It's just one of those days. Maybe take the kids tonight. Let me just be here by myself and
Right.
feel this shit, and I'll be okay.
right.
Like, and it's all right. That's normal."
Well, that actually goes perfectly into this next one. If you struggle, you're failing.
False.
False.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we all
not.
struggle.
Yeah, I mean, and it's different at different points of your sobriety. You know, where I'm always struggling with something different.
Yeah, different
You
seasons.
know, yeah, there's always a struggle. You know, it doesn't matter. It just like you said, different seasons. Um, I could be on fire in my spirituality for a while, and then I end up slacking in it, or
Right.
I could be thriving in work, and then the next couple months it's a shit show, and you know, with my family at home, things can be great, and then my kids are driving me crazy for days on it. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it's life.
I think a lot of it is mindset. You know, like
Yeah.
what is our perspective around struggles? You
Mhm.
know, so do I look at struggles as I'm a victim or poor, pitiful me, or do I look at them as an opportunity to face some adversity, to grow,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that's the way that I choose to look at it today. It's like when I get challenged with something, it's like, okay, this is a challenge. This would make most people quit.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't quit. Like, I'm going to keep going, push through it.
I believe that when I'm faced with these different challenges nowadays, like that's God intervening in my life
Maybe
to show me something
yes.
that I need to work on. And He's given me the opportunity to do that. And I'm not perfect, so there's some days I might ignore it. So He keeps it coming for a little longer than others.
Yeah. Or maybe He's preparing us for another season that's down the line
Yeah.
of when things are going to be good. right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if things are good, do I know how to handle things when they're good? Do I get arrogant?
Right.
Do I start to think that I'm better than other people? But if
Mm-hmm.
I go through some trouble, some struggle to get to that point, then when the blessings come, I know how to handle them in my life,
Yeah.
and I treat them appropriately. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, oh, I'm fucking better than everybody now
Right.
because I'm killing it at work, or I'm doing this in my relationships, or, whatever it is, like financially I'm doing better, or whatever it is. Like, that time of struggle helps prepare me for stuff down the road. And
Mm-hmm.
it might be, it's like planting seeds, right? It's like that seed might not grow or bloom, or whatever you want to call it. The harvest might not come for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like something I went through 3 years ago might have been, I had to go through it so that today I can handle it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's all about how we view these struggles,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's because it's very easy, right, to look at a struggle and go, man, I just can't win. Like, I
Right.
just can't catch a fucking break, man. It's one thing
Yeah.
after another. My water heater went out. Now my tire's flat. Now, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
We can always find some negative in something, but if we
Mm-hmm.
can have that mindset shift of looking at it like, okay, what's the challenge here?
Yeah.
Normally I would quit here. I would give up. I'd give in. Okay, but I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna nail my feet to the floor and I'm gonna get through it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, man, like, and you make a practice of doing that, of doing hard things or facing adversity and coming out the other side of it, it
Mm-hmm.
changes you.
Yeah.
Like, it really does, right? It will change you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know, like, early on in sobriety, right? Like, I had a lot of adversity, a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I had to sit in it. I couldn't numb
Yeah.
it anymore. It's like, okay, I made a commitment that I was going to do whatever it takes. And that's what I do now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to get through it, and it changed me.
Yeah.
Right. And now when things happen, I'm like, oh, this isn't near as bad as what it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So,
I guess something I kind of touch on with that too, like it kind of, this past Sunday, we went to church, and the message at church on Sunday, they're doing this thing, for the month called At the Movies. So, and this past weekend was the first week of it, and it's like movie theater theme, and we go in, and they actually played not the entire movie, but they played
like snippets of it or something.
snippets of it, and then obviously discussed it and all that stuff. But it was about it was called, the movie is called The Unbreakable Boy, and it was about this child who has this, rare bone disease, and like his bones are so brittle and fragile,
Mm-hmm.
and the dad is, the whole time you think the story is about the boy, right, and his
Struggles.
struggles throughout his life, but really the story was about the dad who was an alcoholic
Mm.
and lost everything, all because he couldn't understand this child no matter how much he tried. And his child was different,
Mm-hmm.
not just because of his disease, but his personality, everything about him. They were total opposites.
Right.
And it really had me thinking too, because that's kind of how, um, myself and my middle child, like, we're total opposites. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up into all the sports and wanting to do all these things, and he wants nothing to do with them. And we were always, it really had me thinking. And the message overall was about, we find God in moments of weakness, and it just really had me, because I've talked about it on here before, like understanding, being more understanding when it comes, and patience with my children
Mm-hmm.
and all these things. And it really, like, really hit home with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great message, and just all around the service everything was great, but it really had me thinking. And this kind of brought into that, like, I think that a lot of the things that happen, especially when it comes to, like, with me and my children, like, that's God. I keep saying I want to work on patience with my kids and all these things, and He shows up and He gives me that opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. It sounds like a really good movie. Like it sounds like a lot of us could benefit from
Yeah.
watching that for sure. I've experienced something similar to that. Like one of my kids is autistic and he's different.
Yeah.
He's just totally different. His personality is different. His capabilities are different. Like some things he's like really struggles with, and some things he's like a savant in.
Yeah.
So it's just like this totally different thing from dealing with my other children. Like we have a different relationship just because it's just a different dynamic,
Yeah.
right? But it's also it can be challenging, right? It's not as challenging now that he's older, but when he was younger, it was very challenging because he was very nonverbal
Hmm.
and everything, and it was like you said, like I really had to work on patience
Yeah.
with it. But now today, like when I deal with things like that, like just I'll coach, the Special Olympics, and I'll deal with a lot of kids that have disabilities. I have a lot of patience with them because I've had that practice
Yeah.
of working on those defects of being impatient with people. Like, why can't you aren't you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you talk to your kids, when you tell them something, you want them to do it right away, but it doesn't always work that way. Um, you can recover alone. You got this, bro.
All right. I'm sorry. I had got a random message there on my
Yeah,
phone.
you can recover alone.
I do not believe that one to be
I don't
true.
either.
I need someone who has been in my shoes and has walked in the path of recovery and can show me the way. And if I could just look at these steps and do them on my own, like, yeah, I probably would have been, I would have enjoyed that a little more.
Yeah,
But then I wouldn't have,
right.
right? I
Yeah,
wouldn't have
it would have been
got,
very short sighted.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. I need to have somebody that can break it down and make me understand it and explain these things to me and what this stuff really means. And then I need you and the group of guys that I have in my life. Like, I need that support group. I need, if I was to just try to recover alone, I would still be just miserable
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah. Even if you didn't drink, even if you stayed
Yes.
sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too, because as people, we're not meant to be alone.
Hmm.
Like we need people,
Yeah.
and that's why unity is one of the parts of the triangle. We need that.
Yeah.
We need to go to meetings. We need to be around people that are like us. We're gonna need to do all the other stuff too,
Right.
but we do need people. I need people to be an example of what is possible, or else I'm not going to believe this thing's going to work,
Yeah.
right? Or I need to get around people that are in places that I want to go,
Hmm.
even today, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the smartest person at the table,
Yeah.
because if I'm the smartest person at the table, I'm not growing, right? I need to be around people that are doing things, so that are doing things that I aspire to do,
Yeah.
right? I need to be inspired by people, right? I need to be motivated at times. I need people to call me on my shit. I like I'm just gonna sign all my own bullshit,
Yeah.
right? Like this is a great
God,
idea.
Evan, you're the smartest motherfucker ever.
Yeah,
This,
no one
this
else
makes
gets
perfect sense.
it. No one else gets it. Like this is a great plan. I should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Don't do that plan. Your
Hmm.
plan sucks,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, we need people. I needed somebody to sit down with me and tell me this is possible.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't the fact that they're verbally telling me it was possible. I can see it.
Hmm.
Right. I can see it. And I have a friend on Facebook that every once in a while she'll post something recovery related, and it'll say something like, I wish I had a tribe of people like other people do.
Then go get
Or
it.
thank you.
Then go
Like
get one.
that's my whole. I'm like, I'll start to type it out, and I'm like, nope, delete. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because it's not my place. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to tell this person, like, you can have that. They're not just going to show up at your front door.
Right.
Like, you have to take steps to go do that. And then I'll see her put stuff on there as like, I do this by myself because I don't need other people. And I'm like, that's why you're posting things like this about you don't. I wish I had a tribe. I do this by myself. It's like, well, which do you want?
Yeah.
It's like we need other people. Like there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it,
Mhm.
whether we're in recovery or not.
Yeah.
Like we're not meant to be alone.
No.
We need love in our life. We need family. We need friends. We
Mhm.
need support.
Yeah.
Like I can't do this. I couldn't have done this by myself. There's
No.
no way, dude.
No.
Like just from the support aspect alone.
Yeah.
If my wife would have said like now my wife like she doesn't go to like meetings and stuff with me. It's not that kind of support, right? Because she's not one of us and that's just not what it's my recovery is my responsibility. It's my recovery, right? But she does support me in a way of like, oh, you need to go to a meeting, go to your meeting. Oh, you're going to go work with another sponsee, go.
Mhm.
You need to go meet with your sponsor, go. Like do what you need to do. Like she supports that I
Yeah.
need to do those things, right? So, but if I had a wife that was like, well, how come you're spending so much time in recovery and not with me? Or, like, when are you going to stop going to those meetings? Or I would struggle, right?
Yeah.
Like that would cause problems
Mhm.
in my life. I'd probably be single,
Yeah.
So, um, recovery ends after working the steps.
That's when it really starts.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. The steps never end.
Hmm.
At 12 step, we carry this message and practice these principles in all our affairs, right?
Hmm.
That's when it really begins. Like a lot of people get, well, I worked 12 steps with my sponsor, and then what?
Yeah.
Then now they're just there.
Yeah.
Now they're just still showing up. Like, but the everything really comes when you pass this thing on. That's what this is about. That's why
Yeah.
it says we carry this message
Yeah.
because that's our responsibility now.
Hmm.
We have to give back what was freely given to us.
Right.
That's
It doesn't
what it
work
is.
the other way around. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. It doesn't say keep this message to yourself.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we just acknowledge that we can't do this alone.
Mhm.
So we can't expect the next person to have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I'll even take you to another step that says it. Step 10. The key word in step 10 is continued.
Yeah.
Right. That means you keep doing it.
Right.
Right. It doesn't mean that you just do it one time. I worked
Mhm.
step 10,
Yeah.
and I'm done with it. No, like we have to continue to do
Mhm.
these things and to practice these principles in all our affairs,
Yeah.
not just in the meeting, when you're
Right.
at work, when you're at church,
Yeah.
when you're at the grocery store, with your family.
Mhm.
You have to do these things everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's like I said. That's why 12. It literally sums it all up.
Hmm.
Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, practice these principles. Or carry this message
Yeah.
to alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs. Like now that you're here at this point, like take it out there, give it to
Yeah.
somebody else.
Hmm. Exactly. That's how, so that goes back to that quote that you were talking about that was on the
Yes.
calendar,
Yes.
right? Like that's how you get what you need, by going out and helping other people and continuing to do it. This isn't a one-time fix-all.
Yeah.
I rolled through the steps and all of a sudden I'm better. Yeah, you're better, but you're not going to stay better
Mm-hmm.
unless you continue to do stuff.
Yeah.
We have to keep doing these things. We have to keep working the steps like daily.
Yeah.
We have a daily reprieve,
Mm-hmm.
based on the contingent, of our spiritual condition,
Mm-hmm.
right? So in order to stay spiritually fit, I have to continue these things. I have
Yeah.
to keep taking inventory. I got to keep praying. I got to stay prayed up. I got to work with others. I got to do all these things.
Yeah.
All right, man. So those are just some of the lies that we hear in recovery, and hopefully we've dispelled them for you,
Yeah. Myths busted.
myth busted. There. All right. All right. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe. We are now on Spotify and YouTube. So wherever you're listening to this, which platform you're on, we're also on the other one. So we appreciate everyone's support. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
We out.